Joining us now live to talk more about the outlook for the housing market is expert realtor Christian Ross, who joined us now from Atlanta. Hi, Christian. Thanks for joining us.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, with real estate, they always say timing is everything. Seems like the timing couldn't be worse. What's the state of real estate right now?
Right now what we're seeing is serious buyers and sellers emerging in the marketplace. It is people who really need to move. They have defined goals, defined timelines, and we're still seeing prices hold steady. So that's a good outlook.
That's interesting, holding steady. Now, you're in Atlanta, Georgia, different
Yes.
parts of the country. Obviously, if you're in New York City, you're probably not going to be able to sell your home right now because there's lockdowns. I would imagine realtors can't do showings.
Well, they're not able to do showings. However, they are definitely working on more virtual opportunities. So we actually talked to our New York office last week who said that they had amazing sales at like 9 million and $35 million, and they still have homes that are selling, but buyers are asking for more concessions because they cannot actually move into their homes right now.
That's the difficult, tricky part, right? So you can
Hmm.
actually buy a home, but because of all the restrictions, it may
You
be a while
can't
before
fit.
you can get into the home. That's right?
Exactly. Yes, especially if you're in a condo building. If you're in a detached home or even a townhome, you're usually okay, but a condo building, you will not be able to move in New York.
But isn't this going to make the housing market go down because people are nervous about, well, selling their home right now? They may feel like they're not getting the best value they could.
And we actually see a different outlook. We've been pouring deep into the data, and especially here in Atlanta, just seeing that there's been so much pent up demand. People are on websites even more. It's almost like they're putting it into their shopping cart so that they can go and buy afterwards. But I can say personally, I've had a buyer who's been in a multiple offer situation that we just won. I've had two listings that just went on. I'm having steady showings. Definitely don't have the amount of showings I normally would, but I'm having steady showings and getting calls from my own agents that I manage that are talking about multiple offer situations because it is serious buyers out here right now.
Interesting. And why do you think people want to buy now so much?
I think this is that spring market anyway, and we were seeing the spring market, and this really happened around the country. We were seeing the spring market erupt in January. So now that it actually is spring, all of those people who were thinking, "Oh, I'm going to start in March and April," and they had a timeline of May or June, a lot of times they actually need to still keep to that timeline. But you definitely have sellers who are hitting pause, and you have buyers who are hitting pause.
But how do you show your house? If you want to put your house up for sale, you can't have people walking in and out of there.
We're using 3D tours, virtual tours, or we will go in with our own phones and tour. And if someone wants to see, oh, the laundry room's on the main level versus upstairs, we're showing all of those details of the home for them. And then we are trying to do everything virtually so that when you're ready to write an offer, we're actually getting you into the home. And even then, we have sanitizer, booties, mask, gloves. We are supplying people coming into the homes with everything so we can make it a safe experience for them as well as the sellers.
So what about any deals? Is there any deals to be had from this pandemic? I mean, obviously we don't want to, profit off of a tragedy,
Yeah.
but is there a way that you can get deals now in this market? Are you seeing that?
I haven't seen too many deals. What I have seen though are people who have overpriced are now adjusting their price to where the market, where it should have been anyway in the market. I've seen a lot of that, and then your uber luxury homes or high luxury homes, you definitely are seeing deeper discounts where you're not seeing 2,000 or 5,000, you're seeing $50,000 discounts. But I think that's more so they're ready to sell. They might have been overpriced initially, but I haven't been seeing any deals.
Interesting. So you're really not seeing a whole lot of different effects from COVID-19 affecting the housing market yet.
No, but I definitely think New York is going to see some deals.
So
They've been a little high for a long time.
absolutely. So do you think you'll see a trend of people in New York who are saying, I've got to get out of New York, it's too crowded, I just want to head to Florida or Georgia or somewhere else? Do you think that's a possibility?
I do. When you look at NerdWallet's recent study, when you look at the migration, New York was the number one location coming to Atlanta and coming to Florida. So I think that trend is going to continue, especially with taxes. And just now, just thinking that I don't want to be in such a dense area, I think it'll definitely impact New York real estate.
What about on the West Coast? I mean, California and places like San Francisco, we've talked for a long time about how unbelievably high the cost of housing is there. Do you think the COVID could have, the pandemic could have any effect on prices going down in places like San Francisco?
San Francisco is just such an anomaly. I don't see it because I think about clients I've had from Palo Alto who have moved here who said, Christian, this would be a $5 million house in Palo Alto, and it's 1.5 here. Their prices are so high, and then you have so much of that tech industry there that I think their prices, they may take a little dip, but I see a really quick rebound. And I feel like that's in most major markets across the country, is that whoever needed to move will still want to move. And then the people who have been in their four walls a little longer than the rest of us may need to reassess and say, I need that second home office, or I need a bedroom on the main level. And so there may be movements from COVID just from seeing their actual living situation change.
What about people wanting to get a mortgage or a loan during this time? How is that being processed?
So that's definitely more affected, I would say, than actual housing prices. Guidelines they've changed. And that's what we see whenever there's increased risk in the market, the lenders pull back a little bit. And so right now, those down payment assistance programs, 100% financing programs, those are definitely stopped right now. Government-backed loans, they're asking for higher credit scores. And so I think as we start to see how we're coming out of this, the guidelines that are being in place, we will have the opportunity for lending to open back up. But right now, it is a bit tighter.
So if you're looking to buy a house, you've got to have a lot of cash down payment because the loan process is stricter. Is that what you're saying?
You'll still be able to probably do like 5% or 3% programs, but you probably have to have a higher credit score, and you'll definitely want to make sure that you talk to a lender so that they can look at the entire situation. Because one thing that they used to do is, and I say used to do like it was so long ago, but they would call your employer. They would call and say, does that person still have a job? That person answers yes, and that's it. Now the verification of employment is, does that person have a job? Are they getting ready to be furloughed? How is their job outlook look for them at your company? So now they're asking more in-depth questions when they're going to verify employment.
Okay, so final tip. If you're a person who may be in the market, do you try and buy now or do you wait a little bit?
I think you talk to a lender first. Talk to a lender, make sure how your situation looks. Rates are so low right now. So if you're able to get into something and your mortgage will be less than your rent, move forward. But definitely take the time to talk to a lender, look at all of your options, because you have all the time in the world right now.